So my question was, how many of you really don't want to do those hypey crazy reels and lives and videos that everybody does? And because I am right, thank you. Because I'm one of those people. And so I Googled this morning and I said, can someone be really successful on social media if they don't want to do those hypey crazy reels and videos? Because hey, you guys, first of all, truthfully, it was just kind of a joke because I've been doing this for 20 years and I've been doing lives and reels and videos and I'm successful on social media. But I wanted to address, like, what if you don't want to do those? Because I'm seeing them more and more. But here's what I'm seeing more and more. I'm seeing all those crazy videos and all the extroverts are having a good time, but I don't see a campaign and I don't see a strategy. And I don't see, like, I always want to go like, okay, but like most of the time, I know some of these people, but my question, if I didn't know them, would be like, well, what do you do? What do you even do? And most of them, what they're doing on their videos and reels has nothing to do with what they do. So, I mean, yes, maybe it will get them um, maybe it will get someone to click on it and go to their whatever to see what they do. But then, so you're a coach and you're coaching people on deep personal issues and you're doing this crazy thing on videos. And it's like, for me, it's a disconnect of like, is that a coach that I want to work with, as opposed to someone who's sharing more real, authentic things. So in the past couple of weeks, we've talked about the technical things. I know you guys know how to technically do videos. I know you know what you do in your business. So I want to give you some ideas about, and I want to give you permission to not do that. And I want to give you permission to know that you can reach your people without having to do that, because I really think that trips some people up. They're like, I can't do that, so I'm not going to do it. So why bother? So here are some strategies that you can use, and I will write this up in a handout. I just kind of came up with this morning, so I don't have it in a handout, but I'll send you guys one. Okay, so the first thing you can do, which is really huge, is focus on value and your niche expertise. Okay, that's the very first thing. And we've talked about this, up one side and down the other, which is create content that educates, solves specific problems for your audience, establishes yourself, as an expert in your field. And the thing about that is, every single one of you here and every single one of you who's listening to this video knows that you have a lifetime supply of content. Nobody lacks content. So whatever you have ever written a blog about, whatever you have ever written a post about, whatever you have ever written in your book can become content for your lives and videos. You can open your book at any point and go, okay, I'm going to do that, talk about that chapter today. So it's like, hey, everybody, it's Miranda Freeman here. You know who I'm talking about. And, I want to talk about blah, blah, blah. And you talk about that. I wrote a chapter about blah, blah, blah. So I want to share a story about how that came to me, or I want to share an experience I had related to that, what I put in my book. Or, Toby, we talked about getting a little more personal and, and Marie, sharing a story or an experience, a testimonial. So there's no lack of content. And you can just be real, be yourself, be your heart self. I want you to let go of the need to be entertaining. I do want you to think about the fact that you have 2 seconds to engage people, but you can still have an engaging hook that doesn't have to be entertaining and ridiculous. It can just be like really deep. Sometimes like one of the hooks that I've tried is like, the minute it comes live, I'll say, can I ask you a question? That's a hook. Or I'm going to be real right now, so get prepared. That's not entertaining. It's a hook and it's from my heart. It's like if you were talking to somebody on the phone or on Zoom or in person, you wouldn't do all that stuff. So imagine and bring your energy that you're talking to that person, like you're talking to that one person. I do a lot of times say, hey, everybody, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just have it like I have this one person in my mind that I'm talking to, and that's how I started out. Okay, so any questions on that? Okay, next. Prioritize long form and in-depth content. Okay, so this is a really big thing now, and especially I have found this to be true on LinkedIn. I have really shifted my LinkedIn strategy to do these long form posts where I actually have been working with clients who are doing it. And what it is it's almost like a blog, and so if you are somebody who's writing blogs, I'm not saying do this instead of blogs. Okay. I repeat, don't do this instead of blogs. But here's what you can do. You can take your blog, and you know where I'm going with this. Go to your little friend chat and say, can you create a long form post from this? And here's something that's very interesting. Most of you have been using ChatGPT long enough now that it has a lot of your content. I've actually had ChatGPT like change one of my posts to a long form post and come up with examples that have actually happened in my life, which is a little creepy, but I think it got them. I know, but I think it got them because hold on one second. I put my whole, this thesis that I wrote when I was in getting my master's degree, I put that in there for it to translate from gobbledygook into English because it was in before computers when I wrote it. And so I think it had the information from that. Miranda.
What is the distinction between a blog and a long form post?
Okay. It could be the exact same content, but the technical distinction is that a blog is a function on your website that becomes searchable on Google, and it has a link. Then the link is searchable. So your link, you want it to have keywords in it. Whereas if you put that, like what makes me really sad is I see people put all these long form posts on social media, and then once they're gone, they're gone. They've cycled down and that's it, they're gone. So the blog is on your website forever, and it's searchable forever in Google and other search engines.
All right, so I'm now also posting my blog as a newsletter
Exactly.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So how does
Okay.
that on
So,
LinkedIn distinguish with a long form post?
okay. Yeah. So I would not do the same content on your
Right.
newsletter and a long form post. But what you could do, you have your newsletter, you could have Chat GPT pull out something from your newsletter, just one key point, and make a long form post from it. Okay. And if you do post, I talk about repurposing your content. So if you do repurpose your content from your blog to your newsletter to the long form post, you want to do it different days and different times. So if you post your newsletter twice a week on Monday, then post the blog at different time or even in a different month. Because don't forget, social media, even if it's on your even if it's in your newsletter, if it's in your documents, like if you put a carousel in your documents, that's going to be there. It's there. When people look at your documents, they'll see your content. But your newsletter, it's still going to cycle down. It's all live feed. Okay. So that's why you always want to have it on your website as a blog as well. Good question. Okay. Any other questions on this? Toby?
Are long form posts just like, are they shorter too? I mean, is it than your blog
Then
or
there's short
whatever?
form posts.
Ha ha ha
And those are good too.
Okay.
Either one. I always put a picture with mine
Yeah.
because I feel like the picture draws people in. And what
Hmm.
I am finding, I mean, I don't want to go into the hypey crazy thing, but I do find that when I put a picture of myself, I get more reach,
Hmm.
you know? And so I do that. I have different pictures. Honestly, sometimes I just take my phone. I'm like having a good hair day and I just take a selfie.
Hmm.
They're not professional photos.
Right.
They're just pictures I took on my phone. Or like that one yesterday, instead of, sometimes I take pictures of nature when I'm out on my walk, but instead I put a picture of myself, you know, people want to see you. And that's authentic. And that for me, it doesn't feel like I'm doing some crazy thing. I'm just putting a picture of myself. Okay. So long form. And again, in the long form or the short form posts. So on LinkedIn, you could do basically one of those a week. Like less is more on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, really what I'm learning about LinkedIn is like, maximum one post a day, unless you're going to have at least 6 to 8 hours in between. And one of those long form posts a week is good. Say you have your newsletter, another day you have your long form post, which is different content, maybe another day a quote. It's like LinkedIn, the more, like on Facebook, the more you post, pumping it out. That's okay, assuming you're going to also be engaging, liking, commenting, sharing. So just posting is not going to help. Remember that. But posting and engaging both can help you on Facebook. On LinkedIn, the engaging for sure, and posting, the less is more. Marie, you're
So
muted.
I'm playing with my friend Perplexity. Um, so my question would be, like, when you take a blog and you create a longer post, it created a little bit too long of a post for me. So then I asked it to shorten it. But do you also link to the blog, or do you not?
Okay.
It's just a long form post, right? It's
Let
just
me say a few
that.
things. You
Okay.
said longer post, but I said long form post.
Yeah, no, it
Did you
what
say
it
long form?
yes, I did. I
Okay,
did say
because you
that,
just
and it
said longer.
gave,
So, okay.
sorry,
So,
I said long form post
okay.
is what
So
I
one of the
asked it.
things you want to do is say for LinkedIn,
Oh, okay, I could do that. And then,
because that will give
okay,
you the format for
okay,
and
perfect,
what I will
perfect.
say is, I'll say, can you give me a good engaging long form post for LinkedIn from this content focusing on XYZ?
Yeah, because what I love this, I have to say, because it's what I wrote, and
Mhm.
then it's just changing up a little bit. But I like some of the prompts that you're giving us, so
But you can
that'll
also
work. But I know I
say,
need more engagement in LinkedIn. I do
focus
need.
on a certain point. Like,
Okay.
take
Okay.
if you take the blog and you pull out one key point, and
Okay.
then you say, can you make a long form post from that? And you could even say, using the example I had with a client where I blah blah blah, and then it's even more different from the blog and more specific to what you want to say. So it could be, you could take like sort of a testimonial and pull it from that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then have it do the short form or long form post. Both are good, but the people seem to be more engaged with the long form posts on LinkedIn. And what
Wow.
you're going to find on LinkedIn is that they're not going to share your content, and LinkedIn really gives higher priority to liking and commenting than they do to sharing on LinkedIn. And Facebook is doing that now too. But on LinkedIn, if people are going to share, they're going to pull it and make an original post from it, just like I was saying on Facebook. So don't waste your time with the share button. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, I want to go back. But heartfelt, authentic, well thought out comments are really the best. Okay. You could like or love or whatever, and then do a comment. Okay. Definitely high quality photos, eye-catching, educational carousels. So a carousel on LinkedIn is different than a carousel um, on Facebook. So a carousel on LinkedIn, it could be anywhere from 10 to 12. What you do is you do it as a PowerPoint first. It could be 10 to 12 slides. You know, you create it, you can create it through Canva, and then you upload it as a PDF. So, and where it lives is, hold on, I'm gonna just show you because this is another, and even if you did a carousel like once a month, you know, because it lives on LinkedIn forever. So I'm gonna show you. Share. So actually, so this is an example of a carousel. Oops. So this is if you look right here, so you scroll down, you're looking at her stuff, and you scroll down to documents. Here's a carousel, and this is 10 slides, and people, it is promotional and educational. And then at the end, it's sort of like a, you know, for more information. So,
Diane,
if
a
you
quick question on that.
Uh-huh.
So is that a PDF or
Yes, this is
MP4?
a
It looks,
PDF.
oh, I thought it was MP4, so you could do
No,
that too. No?
I'm clicking on this thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
clicking on that little arrow. And
Oh.
a person
Because
can open
MP4
it.
would have a play, right? It would have a
Yeah,
play.
and a
Yeah,
person
button.
you
Okay.
can open it up and look at
Oh,
it.
okay. Like that. All
So
right.
it's, I would say it's mostly education, and then it's definitely promotion for who you are and what you're about. And what I love about it is, you know, if you've done talks, you already have PowerPoints that you could create carousels from them. So it's just a really powerful tool for. And you could do one of those once a month if you have a promotion going, you could do, but you don't have to pump those out. And, you know, again, it's repurposed content. Okay. So either which came first, the chicken or the egg, either you do that and then repurpose it into whatever, or you do whatever and you repurpose it into that. Okay. Yeah, so basically the benefit of a carousel is it encourages people to stay on your social media platform longer because they're on your platform the whole time they're looking at it. And of course, the algorithm sees that. They see everything. Okay, so the next one is engaging authentically. Of course, this is nothing new. This is me saying the same things over and over again. And, you know, promptly responding to DMs and comments. And when if people respond to a lot, if a lot of people respond on a post, then take a few days to thank them, you know, do it over a few days so you don't do them all at once, because every time you comment, it brings it back up to the top of the feed. So do 3 or 4, next day do a few more, and it'll just keep coming back up to the top of the feed. You know, ask open-ended questions even when you're commenting to try to keep the conversation going. Are all of you have all of you joined some niche specific communities where your ideal clients are? Okay, I want to really encourage you to be active in those communities. And honestly, the benefit that you can get from being active in a couple of communities, if 2 is too many, just be active in one to start. You know, Miranda and Marie, you have Katerina and you have Polka Dot, you know, just be active in as many as you can be active in, but show up to like, comment, share, and, you know, engage. And, you know, you can really, it's like showing up to a networking event. Okay, and the other thing, lastly, I think this is the last one. No, second to the last. Be consistent and strategic, okay? No random acts of Facebook. No, be consistent. So show up at least. And I just want to say that when you comment on someone's content, that counts as showing up. When I say show up, it doesn't mean pump out posts. Okay. So sometimes I don't post anything for 4 or 5 days on my personal profile, but I am showing
Me
up
too.
all over the place. I'm showing up in my groups. I'm showing up on my thanking people for commenting, engaging. I'm showing up on different platforms. I'm showing up in Messenger to people. So, I might not post anything on my I'm posting on my business profile every day, but on my personal profile, I'm not post for 4 or 5 days. But I'm showing up. Okay. Because when you comment on other people's content, guess what? It shows up in your feed. Okay. People see that. Oh, Toby commented on Marie's post. Miranda liked Toby's thing, right? It shows. So that counts as showing up. It counts as weighing in on the algorithm. And honestly, it counts more than posting stuff. Engaging is way higher priority to the algorithm than posting. Okay, and then finally, last but not least, is choose the right platforms. Okay, so back to the being crazy and hypey, you don't have to be on every platform. I want you to be fully up and running on Facebook and LinkedIn before you branch out. And then, in my opinion, the next two, would be YouTube and Instagram. If you're a TikTok person, God love you if that's what you want to do with your life now. I mean, I could understand if your people are on TikTok, go for it, and if you feel comfortable using TikTok. But if your people aren't on TikTok and you're just doing it for entertainment, you might want to think about that. Toby, are you on TikTok?
No.
Okay.
The only one I'm on that is the only other one I'm on is Substack, and I think I
Oh,
spend
yeah.
most of my time on Facebook and Substack right now.
Substack is great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't necessarily say that unless you're going to do a hardcore campaign, and it could be a good relationship between Substack and YouTube. Definitely,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And it's to position yourself as a thought leader.
That's right. That's what
Substack
it seems
and
like.
YouTube. And
Okay.
and especially if you're planning to do a podcast, like
Mhm.
I'm really ramping those up too. Because first of all, I love Substack because I get to engage with intelligent
Really
conversation.
smart people.
Yeah,
It's really
it is.
nice.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
And then also it's great to, sooner than later, it's great to start building it, but not until you have Facebook and LinkedIn up and running.
Yeah, my LinkedIn is like this,
But
so
your LinkedIn that could be a very good platform for you.
okay.
And in the recordings, there are replays on LinkedIn that you could watch.
Okay.
And we'll be touching on it again next year. Miranda.
Okay, so I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram because I do both of those, Facebook and Instagram at
Uh-huh.
the same time. Uh, I'm curious about Substack because, I've got these blogs that I've already
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
Would that be something to,
For sure. Yeah. And also as a writer and a
yeah,
speaker, you have what you need to be on Substack too. The only thing I want to say, Miranda, is the thing is that, you're not really fully up and running and you have a lot on your plate. And I don't want you
yeah,
to spread yourself too thin
yeah,
and then not be doing any of them fully. So what I would say, you could start, this is what I did, because I also do not want to spread myself too thin because I'm super focused on YouTube right now. So I post stuff on there and I subscribe to people that I'm interested in and read
yeah,
their stuff. And also by the way, just in case you're interested, Substack. If you follow them, I have the app on my phone. So if you follow someone, you get their content
Yeah.
you see it. But if you subscribe, you get their emails. And so I didn't know that. So I don't want a million emails. I just want to follow and follow
Oh,
them. So don't subscribe unless you really want their emails. I did want a few people's emails.
You can turn that off
I
too
know,
in the
I
settings.
did.
Yeah, so I
I
subscribed to a bunch of
unsubscribed.
people and then
so
yes.
if you follow,
If you
how do you see it?
on the app,
In
you'll
the
see
app.
notifications, just like if you follow someone on any social media platform.
I
I
see.
thought it was like YouTube, because on YouTube, if you subscribe, then you just start seeing their stuff in
Right.
in the platform, on
Right.
the, not getting a million emails, because I don't want that.
Got it.
Well, there's a few that I want their emails, but mostly I just want to subscribe. I mean, follow. See, I'm doing it again.
Okay, good to know.
All
All right,
right,
well,
so
I won't get into that just yet. So,
Yeah. I mean, just, set up a profile, and also just start looking at it. So that's what I do when I'm starting a new profile. I set up a new platform. Set up the profile. I start checking it out. I start seeing who I might be interested in. I start like giving it the subjects I'm interested in, giving it following people I know, and just checking it out. And then it sort of organically happens that you start to want to play. I mean, honestly, I'm not really even doing Substack for business at this point. I'm really just doing it. I kind of am, because I'm following people who are big YouTube people, but more than that, I'm just kind of doing it because I like it's refreshing. Okay, so that is where we're going to stop for today. And I want to find out, first of all, what's your number one takeaway and what are you going to work on today? And we'll start with Miranda, because you didn't get to share before.
I am going to get off. I can't stay to the end.
Oh.
I've got another meeting, but my next action here is when I get off is to post my blog on LinkedIn. My email went out this morning, which is the blog that I'll post in LinkedIn in 2 weeks, because I post every 2 weeks in LinkedIn, and I'm 2 weeks behind posting LinkedIn because it took me 2 weeks to figure out how to post.
Okay, but you're going to post it as a newsletter.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
paste the newsletter. Yes.
Because
And
then you
I
have
do
that.
have a story written, so
Good.
I'm thinking I could post that later this week on LinkedIn. That would be another post for LinkedIn.
Beautiful.
But I could also post that on Facebook, don't you think? the
Absolutely,
story?
by the
Yeah.
way. Yes. And yeah, and in wherever else, Instagram, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. That's my action plan.
Good. Okay, Toby.
So I meant to ask you the long form post. So right, we can put a link anywhere, right?
I'm sorry, I missed your
Right,
cut
we
out
can
a
put
little.
we can put the long form posts anywhere.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
totally.
okay.
Do
It's
it a different day. Don't do it on the same day.
Oh yeah, no, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'll play with then now is like creating some.
Also, you might want to consider having AI rework it for Facebook.
So when I put it into chat to say create a long form post like from this section of this blog
Yeah, for LinkedIn.
Facebook
And for Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Whenever, even if I have a blog and I'm doing social media posts, I have it create the social media posts for LinkedIn and Facebook different.
Okay.
And I do different ones. And Instagram
Right, so each one.
and videos. And
I know it's so much. There's so
So
many.
when when you're doing that, because I know some people, I think like Miranda mentioned it, I post to the different platforms separately.
yes.
But when you're doing a long form post like this, you would just, when you're working with LinkedIn, you just do it for LinkedIn, then you reformat it for Facebook, then you reformat it for Instagram. So different times. Is that
Yes.
how I'm understanding what you're
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
So
And-
like you have to turn off that if you have that thing where you post Facebook
Yeah.
and Instagram at the same time.
Right.
You've got to turn that off for that
Right.
post, right? Okay.
Okay.
All
Right.
right. Got it.
And I use a scheduler. And so what I like about using a scheduler is then I can, in my mind, I can do it right then and there to all three at different times. And it really helps to have it auto scheduled. I mean,
What's the scheduler you use again?
I'm using Meet Edgar,
Okay.
and
What is it?
Meet Edgar, MEET Edgar, EDGAR. And
Enter.
by the time you use any of these schedulers, it's $49 a month, or if you do a whole year, it's a little bit less. But by the time so I have some stuff that rotates on auto post, and then you can also schedule just a one-time thing for a date. And it's much easier to coordinate all of this different posts on different days, different times with a scheduler than trying to keep it in your head. And then once you get your VA, it's very easy to just hand it off to them.
And it does all the different platforms?
You have to, well, for each post, you have different categories, and then for each post, you have whatever platforms, and you can pick what platform. Like you can go, like I'll put in the post and I'll check off Facebook and the two LinkedIn one time, and then another time I'll check off Instagram because I know that